Got it? Throw it back in. Cool. Alright, now check this out. If I snap like that, man, that was yours, right? Oh, really? Okay, hold on, maybe. Let's see if I can get this. Sorry about that, guys. Flick. Right there. Nightclubs. Was that not it either? What was your card, man?
Ace?
What?
No, it was six of spades.
Six of spades?
Yeah.
No, that's not right. It's not the six of spades. Check. What was that, yours? But that was up under your foot, though.
Was it like that before I put it up under my foot?
No, it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Somebody else tried.
At this point, you have a firm understanding of card magic fundamentals. If you don't, you haven't seen disc 1 yet, so go back. If you're ready, I won't stall any further. Get ready for the most insane card magic on the streets today. Wait one more second. Okay, let's go. Grab one out of there. You can see them if you want. Not that? Okay, show it to them and I'll give you a...
Alright.
Just want to sign that. Sign it? Yeah. Right here? Whatever you want. Just make sure it's marked so you know what it is, you know what it's going to be yours and I can't copy it. Alright. Here we go. What we'll do is, let me see it. Okay. Now, is it marked in such a way that it's definitely going to be identifiable?
Yeah.
Next time we look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I need either 2 hands or, I tell you what's the best way. Just hold out your foot down here. Here's what we'll do. Put your foot on top of that and press down. Here's what we want to try. We want to try to make something happen with this as easily as I can do this. You want to help me with this?
Yeah.
You know what his card was?
Yeah.
Okay, now I need you just to think about it. Okay,
All right.
Think about his card, and you know what it was, and it's marked over here, so you've got it too. Here's what we'll do. I tell you what, hold those. Here's what we want to do, man. See if we're gonna use this. Isn't by chance. Here's what we do. We fold it once. Twice. And see, I could fold it again, but I tell you what, I think that ruins it, so here's what, just pay attention because what we actually get.
Oh, what the hell, dude?
Was that you? What do you got down here?
It's probably the card you just had in your hand.
Yeah. Hold up.
No way. How'd you do that? That was
Look
it.
at it, dude.
And it's folded even.
Yeah.
That wasn't even folded when you put it down there.
That's crazy.
Oh no. That was
That
a
was
good
magic,
one.
man.
That was a classic.
Wow.
You ever seen anything like that?
That's
no,
crazy.
That was a good one.
Look at that.
Oh yeah. I don't know. When he put that down there, it was flat.
Yeah.
It was just like this right here. A regular, it wasn't folded. Wasn't no creases in it. I think that was pretty cool.
Here we go. We are going to have a card just picked out, and let me show you this real quick. We have a card picked out and signed. I can go ahead and just... There's our signature. And what we're going to do is just take the signed card. Actually, we'll put it under someone's hand or just have them hang on to it. You can do whatever you really need to do there. Now, what we want to do for this trick, have them hang on to it, and we're going to try to make you see something that's not really happening. Basically, a false reality, if you will. So, in order to do that, we're going to take an indifferent card here. Let's see if we can make this happen. We're just going to fold this card. Now, I know this isn't yours. Okay, so watch. We just fold it once, fold it twice, and I mean, I could fold it a third, but why? Because what happens is a really odd thing. Now, I've got this, and over here, a folded, creased. How'd that happen? Dimensia. Okay, let me show you how that works. You have a duplicate card, as you probably noticed. I love the power of twins. So here's what we do. We have a duplicate card that's been pre-folded. You just fold it in half once, fold it in half again, like that, and then unfold it. Boy, it's tough. So I mean, you've really got to have motor skills to make this trick happen. You fold and have it just sitting on top. Don't be worried, don't be concerned about people seeing it. I was at first, but it's not really a concern at all. It's kind of like the top change. It's one of those things that even if it seems to you that you would know it was there, you don't, because we know about it. It's a lot easier for us to pick out than it is for somebody that has no clue what you're about to do. So I feel really safe in putting it right here on top. Underneath it, I have an unfolded duplicate. So this card, let's pretend it's unfolded. I'm glad everybody has big imaginations. So, have your crease card on top, then you have a card freely selected and signed. And we'll just use these again. And here's what we do. You have, after you get the signature, you ask someone to hold out their hand, their lovely, lovely blue cottony hand. And then you're just going to switch it out by whatever means necessary. You're going to switch their card that's not folded yet for the folded card. You're going to take it, just do whatever you want to switch it and put it under their hand. Super easy. Now, they're not going to feel that fold under their hand either. Let me go through that. It's something about the way that people naturally put their hands over the center of a card. Almost every time, either the fold will fall right here in the cracks of a finger, or for whatever reason, they just don't feel it. Even I've had people really pressing down and they still don't feel it. So don't worry about that either. If we get those concerns out of the way. Now, what you have done, you've got their signed card, obviously, and they've got a pre-creased duplicate card that they believe is their signed card. Now, for the dirty work, as it were. You've got their card on top, and you say, okay, now what we're going to do is turn the deck over in your hands, and you're going to fold this card, theirs, into quarters. You're going to do it under cover of the deck. Here's how. Use this fleshy part of your forefinger of your left hand, and just in the act of just squaring the deck, that's when the fold happens right there. So let me unfold this now. Show you how this. It takes a little bit of practice to get this down, to get it smoothly. As a matter of fact, I probably need to practice it more, but I just haven't been caught with it, so I haven't really felt the need. And I've done this hundreds of times. So here's what we do. We just turn the deck over, and you're going to use that fleshy part to just pull down their card until it folds. You're going to hold tension against it with the thumb of the right hand. So it's just going to come back. You'll see it'll just crease right up. Just pull down, and now you're going to bend with these three fingers of the left hand, push against the left hand until you get a crease. And it can be done very, very quickly. Just bam, just like you're just squaring up the deck. So what you're left with is this little scenario here, where you've got their card folded and then the duplicate card on top. And the easiest thing to do is to just steal them off like this. I usually do this. You just steal them off so that you have a card that's not folded. This is your duplicate, and then you have their signed card folded behind it. Now what you want to do is just go, okay, what we're going to use, and all I just did there was just load that folded card into the left hand. Watch. You just take it and say, we're going to use the Eight of Clubs, okay. and then now it's in finger palm, and it's the right direction. The center of the card that's folded up like this, the center fold needs to be pointing toward your thumb of your left hand, okay? And then you take the unsigned, unfolded duplicate, and you put it right here, and now it's just showmanship. You fold once, you fold twice, being careful not to flash this over here, and you want to keep your hands looking as similar as you can as well. That way you don't tip anything off. Now you're gonna slip the duplicate card in the center. That is to say, see, it's folded once, and now you're just gonna fold it. You're just gonna slide it in like this. So what ends up happening is it gets sandwiched in that second fold. So you just 1, 2, 3 is the way I always do it, but you don't have to do that. You could just do a flash change if you wanted to, like this. Now what's going to happen after you slip it in there? You have this all palmed out like this, and you have your duplicate, and you just bam, slip it in. Now, and you turn the hands up, pinching the fold with the thumbs and the forefingers. And it's very important that you pinch tight, because if you don't, what will actually happen is when you slide this card in, it's really possible to just kind of shoot it back out, see, like that, which is not the way you want to do a card trick. So let me show you that again. Oh, it's like a rising card out of a card that shouldn't even be there, which means you're caught, so don't do that. Now, you do the switch, which is just sticking this in the center and turning the hands up, pinching very tightly at the corners, and showing the hands empty. Now they see one card, they're like, oh, okay, it's folded, and say, but if I unfold it, what if you just saw something that wasn't real? And as you unfold it, you're just unfolding the outermost card. You fold that down, and then you can readjust this if you need to, and fold that out, so that the folded card is behind it, and now you've got their signed card. So let me do it. Let me do it in performance speed. You end up like this. Okay, so you've got their card and everything. So you're gonna say, okay, but what we want to do, we want to use just a we want to use a duplicate. We want to use, yeah. Let me show you how this works. It's very much more impressive. You're gonna have it down like this, and you say, okay, now what we want to do, we just want to use an indifferent card. We'll use the 8 of clubs. So we're going to use the 8 of clubs, and we just fold that once. Now if I fold it twice, now if you can see this, I don't know if you can, but what actually happens is, there you go. Super easy. Now where you're at, you've got their folded card right here behind their signed card. And they're like, whoa, because they had this signed card under their hand, or in between their hands, in between two people's hands, whatever. Under their shoe, under a salt shaker, placemat, floor mat, bedspread. Where are you performing? I don't know. But I mean, you can do whatever you want. Now, they think they've had this the whole time, and now you've got it. So they're going, holy crap. So they're going to be diving over here. They're going to be, whoa, what? Trying to get to this card to see what it is. They're going to turn it over, and it's now the folded and creased card that you just folded up. They've got the card you folded up. Now, what I normally do to get rid of this, I usually do this subtle showing my hands both empty without pointing to my hand saying, look, my hands are empty. So what I do is I have the folded card, and I go, now you can see I've got your card. And all I've done is just been really open with my right hand here is open, and I've got the card pinned, and then I transfer it over, and I pinch that with the thumb, keeping the folded card behind that one. And so it's just really simple. You just, now I've got your card, and you've got, and at that point they're going to be looking over there. And if you're working a table, you can just come back and just drop it like that, lap it. Maybe you're at a table, but you are standing up. You just want to take it and go, okay, now if I have that, you have what? And now they're looking, so you've got this palmed. You can come back to your pocket or whatever you need to do. If you're you know, super simple. Ditch it, whatever you need to do with it. I usually slip it into my pocket because I'm usually doing this trick on my feet. But if you are at a table, even better because you can lap it and it's simple. Just ditch the card while they're looking at this and you end clean, and they're going to be more worried about looking at the cards and rubbing them and going, wait a minute, wait, let me see these trick cards, and they're going to be more concerned with examining them. Dimensia, have a blast with that one.
Here we go, doing Dimensia here. I found these people actually at a bike rally, and I hand this gentleman the pin. I'm going to ask him to sign a card after his wife picks one here. She grabs it. Check out how she's hiding it like that. She gets really involved in this hiding it process. Now remember, I have already got a pre-creased card on top of the deck. That's one of my duplicates, not that card that she's got. Right there, I just top changed it. I'm putting the pen into my cameraman's pocket there, and I'm putting the duplicate that's folded under her foot. Now I've got her card on top. I've just flipped the deck over, and I'm just talking to him. My hands aren't hardly moving at all. I've already got, there goes the fold. You could actually see my hand move a little bit. I've got the card folded. I'm just going to pick it right up off the top of the deck as I hand this gentleman the deck. Now I've got it behind. I'm checking to make sure. That's, what card are we using? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Now I start folding, and the trick unfolds from here, as it were. So look at her, she's involved, and he's what is going on? So I'm gonna fold it up, unfold it after the switch there. She's going, what do I have down here? What's under my foot? You see her move it? Now she's freaking out. She had no idea what was going on. She had that folded card, and check her out. They had a good time with that one. And Dimensia.
You ever get a video or a book and there's a trick in it where you're supposed to mislead somebody? Well, this is ours. I thought we should slip one in. This is called Flatliner. You're gonna love it. Take your hand and put it on top. There you go. Now we're making a sandwich, okay? So what we want to try to do, we'll take this card, and here's what I do. If I go over, when I go under, did you feel anything?
No.
Look, I got it.
Oh, God.
Wait a minute.
They didn't do anything. I didn't feel nothing.
Do it to me, do it to me.
As you just saw, that was Flatliner. In this effect, you take a card, it can be a selected card. Say somebody's picked the 8 of hearts. We're going to take the 8, and you put that either under one person's hand, 2 people, whatever you need to do. Then you take, say, the 6 of spades here, and we put it over here, like this. The interesting thing happens. Bam! Right there. Now, got the 6 of spades over here. And the 8 right here. So, let me show you how that works. Really cool, really a lot of fun, and there are a couple of ways to present it. I'll get into all of them with you. Here we go. You're going to need a duplicate card for this effect, and the setup you need to be in to start is, in this case, my 6 of spades is my duplicate. You're going to need your duplicate, an indifferent card, and a duplicate. Now, if you're going to have somebody select it, you can have them select one of the duplicates and do it that way. There are a lot of variations on this. The most impressive one, I think, is when their selected card is the indifferent card, as it were. So here's what we do. You have those on top. Let's say you want to use that little toss-up force. You just cut your set in and maintain a pinky break. And you say, you want to just say stop whenever you want, right there. Great. Toss that up as a little convincer. Now, all you're going to do is say, you stop me at one card. I'm pushing over and pulling back to get a break right here. And I'm going to turn over the double, okay, showing the 8 of hearts. I'm going to put this in one of my spectators' hands. You can do this with 2 people, like I said, which is really cool. So they think they've got the 8 of hearts. What they've actually have is the 6 of spades. Now you turn over a double again and show the 6 of spades, because they don't know that that's what that is. Turn the double back, and you're putting the actual 8 of hearts over here. Trick's already done. So you can just go on about, you know, what if I could make you see something that's not really happening? Let's suspend reality for a second, everything you understand about it. And I found that the slower you do this, if you're doing it for 2 people, you can put it in 2 different hands, and you'll see that in just a second, as a matter of fact. And it's a really cool way to do this. Or you can just do it for 1 person. If you do it for 1 person, just put it in their hand. And what I always do is, after I've got the card down that I'm going to switch, I'll just say, now, could you feel that? And just wave over their hands or move out to the side, underneath, whatever you want to do. And say, yeah, I felt something. Look, I got it. And then turn it over real slow like this. Real slow, real dramatic. Another way that I've played around with doing this that's pretty neat and it's a lot of fun is actually if I just have my 2 duplicates on top of the deck and I don't even use a force. This isn't just one way to do it. You can just have somebody pick one. They pull it out, and it's the 4 of clubs here. You can even have this card signed if you want to, because it's not a duplicate. But the way that you can do this, you can either do like the Marlowe tilt move and kind of open an ambitious routine by just pushing. You know, I always do this little convincer of pushing a few cards out. What I actually have is a pinky break under my top card, remember? And then you're going to put it second from the top, but from the front you can't. It just looks like it's going in the middle. So just push a few cards out like that and go, that's, you know, that's about middle. And they're going, yeah. I mean, it really looks like it is. It's really going second. And then you can go watch like that, and then go, okay, you better just sign that, and just hold it out like this while they sign it. You can do that with it. Or you can do a false pass, which is where you just have them take their card, and you just go, okay, now if you want, and I did this just a second ago, if you would, just go ahead and say stop, right there, and you have them put it back, and you just riffle it down in the middle. Now what I've actually done is put it second from the top. False pass, all I'm doing is just picking up the top card. When they say stop, I'm blatantly just go ahead and say stop. Look, right here, I just have 1 card in my hand. And whatever you have to do to get into this position where your duplicates surround that card, whatever you need to do, if you want to go into an ambitious routine, if you just want to do the top change, if you just want to say now, all you have to do for this is watch your card, okay? And then you can put it right under there like that. I just top changed it, which remember is where you just push over the top card. As you come across with this card, put it in and pull out. It's just like that. You just want to get really comfortable. Remember, do not change your fingering. You don't want to do this stuff. That's not a top change. You want to just get comfortable with being able to keep your positioning the same. That way you can just say, okay, now did you see the card? Okay, good. I'm glad we know. And bam, you're done. Just in a gesture, like just wherever you need to switch it out. Real easy. You can put this under somebody's foot or under a salt shaker. That was, as a matter of fact, what I was about to tell you. What you can do is, after you have the card second from the top, have them, you know, they're looking at everything and say, I tell you what, lift up your foot and put that out under their foot and say, I don't even want to touch you. It's pretty impossible to move you. You know, if you're doing it for a big guy, you're a pretty big man. You know, I don't think I could move you from this current position too easily, or at least without you knowing about it. And then you say, what if we take the 6 right here, and what if I could move you without you knowing it, without you even feeling it? Did you feel it? And they're going, nope, and you've switched it out. So just get creative with it. There are a ton of places to put a card. Since it's really just a switch. It's a blatant switch, but it works so well. And the way that I did it, I'm going to do it here in just a second. I'm going to take somebody's card that they've picked out. I just have my 2 duplicates on top of the deck. I'm going to have somebody just pick out a card, and I'm going to take it, that's a better contrast, and I'm just going to do the thumb switch, which I have a break right here under the top card, kind of like I'm going to do like Marlowe's tilt or something. But what I'm actually going to do is put the selected card right here on top of the deck so that I end up in this position. And then as I come down, I'm going to allow the second card to fall out and close this card up against the deck and turn my hand over. That is the switch that I use here in just a second to do this. So I have somebody pick it, got my 2 duplicates on top, and I just go, okay, now if we put that there, and that's the switch, so it's done. and then you can just do your next double lift and say, okay, check this out. And you can even do this without a duplicate if you want. Let's say you don't have a duplicate. It doesn't quite look the same, which is why I use one, but it's really close. What you can actually do is you could just have somebody pick a card, or you can do a double lift. If you want to do a top change, you have them pick their card and say, okay, just hold out your hand for me. I've just top changed it out. Hold out your hand for me. And I put an indifferent card in there, and I say, now, what if I can get that out of your hand? Just go. Got it. And that really throws people off, even if you don't have a duplicate card. That duplicate just allows you to be able to add some things to it and just jack with people's heads a little more, which is what we're all about anyway, isn't it?
We're getting ready to do Flatliner here, and in this case I'm going to use 2 different people, and I'm also just going to use a free choice. So I've got both of my duplicate cards on top of the deck. I have my first card selected here, have her look at it and show it to the camera, show it to everybody else, and then as soon as I take it back, I'm just going to switch it out for my first duplicate. It was a sloppy thumb switch, but notice my arms covered both directions. And now for my second selection, I'm going to have this girl say stop. When she does, I cut off at what is really the top of the deck. And when I show her her card, what I'm actually going to do is turn over a double lift. That way I'm putting down the original selected card. And so now the trick is completely over. It's just build up, build up, build up, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And when I put my hand out, I'm doing magic here. And do you feel what happened? They're going to turn the cards over. Hits her, and now she already knows what's coming. Look at her. And my second reaction. They are freaking out and don't know what to think. Flatliner.
They switched. Identity theft. It's getting big now, so we decided, let's make it a magic trick. So, check it out. Here's what we'll do. Just say stop whenever you like.
Stop.
Would you like me to go forward or go back?
No.
No, right here's good? Okay, why don't you go ahead and take your card and sign it. Make sure it's signed on the face where we'll be able to, big enough, yeah, there you go. See what it is.
Showed him the card.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, now, let me see this, borrow this from you. What we'll do, I'm just gonna shuffle that in the deck there. Give it a couple of cuts. Here's what we do.
Do you remember what that car was?
You're fine. Fine.
That's all right.
You remember what it is?
Uh-huh.
Well, I was gonna say, if not, we'll just do it this way. So you know, you remember. Got it? Okay, here's.
Okay, let me look at that again. Okay. All right, I got it.
You got it? Well, see, here's what we do with it. Have you heard of that identity theft thing where people are taking people's credit, like they're getting their socials? That freaked me out a little bit, so I decided that I wanted to figure out how it worked, and I found out that you don't have to have a social security number. This is where it gets a little scary. This 5 represents you. This represents your fingerprint. That makes it unique to you. And we just got this from this bar over here. So just wipe that. Make sure that doesn't wipe off or anything. That signature there. Okay. So it's on there to stay. All right. Well, one way that you can actually get it is just like that, because now it looks like your fingerprint goes away. What if the fingerprint didn't actually go away though? What if it just kind of absorbed into the card? Does that sound like it would be possible?
Wait a minute. Something's wrong here.
Does it sound like it would be possible? Hold out your hand. Here's what we do. Take your thumb, put your thumb right here. Just like this. There you go. Now the thumbprint goes back on. Would you believe that?
Probably
It's a true
so.
story. Check it out.
You
Now,
gotta
how'd
show
you
me
do
how
that?
Yeah, you gotta show me how you do that.
Let me show you this.
I could have my wife confused for the rest of her life.
We're going to do a trick called identity theft. You just have somebody say stop. They do. You have them look at a card and sign it. And for the sake of saving cards, this is my signed card. So, here's what we're going to do with it. The 6 of spades represents you. The signature represents your fingerprint, your thumbprint, just uniqueness to you. Now, what if I told you I could take that and I could get your fingerprints and I could get all of your personal information? What if that were possible? Because now I've stolen your fingerprints, I look just like you, and I'm able to go out, get loans, commit crimes, do whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. So this is really a scary day and age we live in because people do this every day. But the interesting thing is, if I take it and I put it back, and you just come in and put your thumbprint on it, and as soon as the thumbprint is put back, right there, is that where it goes? It really is put back. It's identity theft. So, I perform this all different ways, all different stories. The main one I use is, of course, the identity theft, people getting your credit cards and things like that. Here's how it works. You have a card on top, and you have a duplicate card. For explanation's sake, we're just going to use the card that's already signed again. And here's what we'll do. You have a card on top, as I said, and then you have your duplicate right on top of it. You can use any force you want, but you are going to have to force a card. The one I normally use, since I showed you a couple, the one I normally use for this is just the slip force, or the riffle force, pardon me. And if I just riffle down and they say stop, I usually say, do you want to go forward or back? And if they say, oh, let's go forward, then go forward. If they say go back, well, okay, go back some. But either way, you've still got your card on top, and you're just going to apply pressure with those 3 fingers like I showed you, and you're going to pull it off and do a riffle force. Now they've got their card. You have them sign it, and as they are, you just put this pack back on top so that you still have your duplicate right here ready to go. Now, you just tell the story. Say, this card represents you. Now, I know this isn't unique yet because all cards look like this, just like all people look relatively the same. But if you have them sign it, if we make this unique to you, this is your thumbprint, this is your retina scan, whatever, this is uniqueness. They do that and they're going, okay, well good. And it really solidifies that in the spectator's mind. The signature really says, it's like, yeah, there's no way they can do this. What I'm doing while they're signing it is I'm pushing over and pulling back, getting a pinky break under the top card, which is my duplicate. Now, I put this back, and I'm going to do what's called a chameleon color change. I'm just going to put my thumb on this back corner back here, just like this. It's hard to see from the top that's got that big gap, but I'm going to put my thumb back here and just push up, and the cards will just come off by themselves. And then I'm going to put my middle finger on the other index corner, so I'm holding it by the 6s with their signature facing up. What I've got, this is what I've got. I've got 2 cards showing them as 1, and then you're just going to take the hand with the deck. You're going to kind of push up with the index finger so it gives it a little bit of a bow like this, and you're going to pull down. You're going to put your other thumb and your other middle finger up like this, and you're going to pull down until it bows. Then you're going to let this corner over here just flick off the middle finger, and it's really an inertia move. You can't do this slow. Just hold it at the fingertips, a very light touch, and you just do the change, just like that. And you say, and that's when your thumbprint goes away. Now I can go out and get loans, blah 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 blah, whatever you want to say. Now they're going, whoa, they're freaking out because you've just taken their thumbprint, you've just taken a card with their signature and immediately, instantaneously taken it away and changed the course of the trick. Now you just take this while they're freaking out. Yeah, I don't know. And what I just did was a top change. So the way I do that, I use these things all the time. A lot of people are afraid of them, as I said earlier, but there's no reason to be, because I've been doing these for years, and I haven't been caught in years doing a top change. Right out in the open. They're way more foolproof than all the pros would have you believe. That's why they're pros. So, what you do, you have this card now without their signature, and they're freaking out. You just took it away, and I usually get big reactions right here. And then what I'm going to do is just come and go, I don't know how it happens. And just do my top change, just in that action. I have it and I go, I don't know how that happens. Do that top change and keep the left hand going. The eye follows the motion, okay? So whenever you have the card, I don't know how that happens. It's going to follow the motion. Now you've switched it back, but you don't want to tell them yet. You put it down or put it in their hand, whatever, and you say, now come on in and put your thumbprint back on it. And they do. They come up, and they're usually they're like, yeah, here, I can put my thumbprint back on it. And awesome. Let them get into it. And then you go, because when that happens, I actually turn back. And be slow, be dramatic. It always increases things. And there you have a wonderful quickie.
Gonna do identity theft here. Let's take a look at this. I'm riffle forcing my top card, which is a duplicate. In this case, I'm actually gonna use a classic color change, so I've got my other duplicate on the bottom of the deck. So it's the same thing, it's just using a different color change, and you can do everything else exactly the same as you see it here. I just wanted to throw this in to mix things up a little bit. I'm having the card signed, and of course this is, like I said, one of the forced duplicates. She's going to take care of that. I'm going to talk with her a little bit. I'm going to add this little convincer. I'm going to hand the card back to her in just a second and ask her to make sure that that signature doesn't rub off. Now, they happen to already have a marker on hand here, which is why I stopped to do it. And, you know, these are good situations to look for. If a situation presents itself where one trick just inherently is going to fit, they're going to have everything there. There she's wiping the card, making sure that it doesn't rub off, and she makes a comment about the tattoo, the homemade one on her arm. I put the card on the bottom of the deck, right on top of its brother or sister, and I'm getting ready to go into a classic color change. I just do it really quickly here without very much movement at all. Really smooth too, though. And I comment on how it looks like it wipes off. It's actually coming off there, and they're going, wow, man, what? So I'm just going to double lift and do that little switch I showed you on the back of the hand. Ask her to put her thumbprint back on it. She does. Wow. And everybody here is asking how that's done. How does this work? How does this work? She's going to play with it and see if she can figure it out. That's always a lot of fun. There's identity theft.
Locking card, and this can be done on the fly. You can do this almost anywhere, and it's a very powerful effect that people just get a kick out of watching. Here's what we'll do. Just grab one of those out. Okay, that one? Ooh. Okay. Just go ahead and sign it.
Sign it now.
Here's what we'll do. I didn't bring We're just going to take your card and cut it down in here, like this. Do you happen to have a key with you? Anybody?
Car key?
Just, yep, that worked perfect.
A whole keychain of car keys.
Well, good. That means you have an extra car, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what we'll do. Friction. Everybody knows friction. When you rub something, it heats up. Hold out your hand. If you rub like this, you can actually feel it heat up a little bit. Well, when that happens, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of a hit or miss type thing. Here's what we do. Heat these up.
That ain't hot.
Just it actually will push through. It burns its way through. And you end up with, it stops.
Don't do it. Oh my gosh.
I better go to church tomorrow.
Oh, you're alright.
I'm going to church tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm going to church.
You better pray to the Lord.
That's right. Ain't that something?
Now you got holes in all your cards.
Yeah, I guess those are done.
You're going to have another deck of cards now to get started. You do well.
What'd you guys think about that stuff?
That is
fantastic.
And again,
Do you have any idea how he did any of that stuff?
Magic.
That's why I said I'm going to church tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
It's got to be magic.
Now watch what's going to...
All right, here's locking card, and what you're gonna do for this is just have somebody grab a card out, and pretty simple. They can take a gander, and after they look at it, all you're gonna do, we'll just put it here. We'll just actually cut it down like that. Now, what you want to do is just borrow someone's keys for this. Let's see if I get my keys. If you rub like this, you can actually feel the key and let them feel it. It actually starts to heat up because of the friction that's involved. So, keeping that in mind, if I just rub it right here on the side of the deck like this, it's getting hot. That's getting really hot. If I just push though, it's really something strange happens. And what happens is if I push, the key actually goes through the deck. Well, it's kind of hot. Let me see if I can. And you have stopped, the key has stopped at the selected card. It's actually burned its way through the entire rest of the pack. Okay. Easy trick, takes a little bit of prep work. You could do this with just about anything you wanted to. You could use a cigarette, an ink pen, a screwdriver. I use keys because everybody has them. It doesn't matter where you are. Somebody's going to have a set of keys for you to do this with. So that's what I've found to be the easiest thing to use. I've just got about a third of a pack of cards that they're just fine. They're just normal. And the rest of the cards, right here, they look good. It doesn't look like anything. You can actually see they've all been burned, and the way they're burned around the holes like that is I've taken them and rubbed them on concrete to smooth down and to actually give them friction burns, or you can just singe them with a lighter, whatever you want to do. That's a really good looking one, so I have it on the bottom. Now what you do, it's a lot more impressive, isn't it? This is how the trick works. You have that hole right there in the card. And the way that I did this, I just took a screwdriver and a knife, and I just kind of hammered the screwdriver through the deck, and then I took the knife and just trimmed off the little flap that was left. Then I took it outside and just rubbed like this on the concrete until it smoothed down these corners, and so you end up with a deck of cards with these little holes all in one corner. You'll probably have to just punch a few at a time. What I did was cut off like about 5 cards and hammer the screwdriver through, set those aside. Then I did the same thing again, and then after you're done, the cards are going to be really spread out back here because of all the force that you've placed on them. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to take after the cards, the holes are poked in them and they're ready to go, you're going to take them and put all of the cards back together, put them in the box, and preferably put something heavy on top of them, like books or catalogs, weights, anything on top of them for about 24 hours so that they press down, and when you pull them out they'll be just like new cards again. I mean, they're just really easy to do. And that's a tip on all cards, really. If you put a lot of weight on them for 24, 48 hours, you can save yourself a lot of money on decks. But here's the setup for actually making the trick work. You have all your regular cards. I usually keep one on the bottom. That way I can flash like this and it's good to go. And then you keep the rest of them on top. And what you're going to do, you're just going to hold a pinky break right here. And you just say, go ahead and just grab one out. And what I normally do is I'll just spread some out and say, just grab one of those, will you? And you've indirectly told them, pick from the fan that I have in front of you. And 9 times out of 10 they're going to. If you don't feel comfortable, use a force. It's whatever, it's up to you. But I just haven't had a problem with this. So after you have their card picked, what do you have to do? Well, you're going to have to get this card, that one card on the bottom, to the top. Normally what I do is while they're looking at you, say, okay, go ahead and remember that, and all I'm doing is just putting it on top. I just now, while I was pointing at that, just put the card on top, so now I've got this. Now don't flash that, and I'm holding a thumb brake back here in the back right now. Why am I doing that? Because I'm getting ready to take their card, put it on top of the deck, then I'm going to cut at that thumb brake, like this, so their card is right here, and then I'm going to drop. And what that does is puts their card is the first card without a hole in it. Right there. And then it's just build up. You take your keys out, or borrow, even better, I usually borrow keys, and just rub them with your thumb and forefinger and talk about how the friction builds up, and hold it out and let them feel it, even if it's not even heating. It will actually heat up a little bit, but even if it's not extremely hot, you put it on their hand and say, you feel that heating up, and then take it back off. Sometimes they'll think you actually just burn them. It's the power of suggestion. So you're going to say, you feel that heat up, and then pull away, and they're going, yeah, I did feel it heat up. Then you just take it, and even from the back, it's hard to see that. I mean, you got a gaping hole there, but it's hard to find. This pattern is perfect. I use bicycle cards for this, obviously. Now, you're going to take your key and just stick it in that hole and say, yeah, if it gets so hot, actually, it's like a hot knife through butter, and if you just wiggle it a little bit like this, after you get done wiggling it, well, you saw the effect. You just push and say it actually stops. And then if you just pull the key, it actually stops at the chosen card. So self-working, really pretty simple. There are a few moves. It won't take much practice. In fact, what's going to take the longest is making the deck.
Here is lock and card, and what we're going to do here, I've got all of my normal cards on top of the deck. I'm just going to fan them out and say, hey, grab one of those. And this guy does. So it's just kind of a psychological force. Just say grab one of those. Don't say grab one of those cards that are on top of the deck. That's not what you want to do. He puts it back on top. I cut at my pinky break. Just cut it down into the bottom. Then I do a couple of false cuts. So his card is already the first card that's not destroyed on the deck, on the bottom of the deck there. Something interesting. I wanted you guys to know that the gaping hole in the cards is really, really tough to catch. The border, the background is just crazy. I wanted to make sure. See, I do this in front of people all the time, and they're just not catching it. Now I'm going to mark up friction. I'm rubbing the deck a little bit, rubbing the key. And this key was tiny, so I actually had a little bit of trouble. And this is good. I had some trouble because the key, you'll see here in a second, I get confused. I'm really playing it up. I'm shaking. I'm really pushing hard there, acting like, you know, my gosh, this is one of the toughest things I've ever done, getting this through here. And this key was like to a master lock or something. It was really small, and it wouldn't go all the way to the card. I mean, it would, but because it was so small, I couldn't manipulate the cards at all or move them to get it where it needed to be. So what I did, oh boy, I acted like it's really tough to pull it out. Here, I'm just gonna be like, oh my gosh, it won't come out, it's stuck. And then when I finally get it out, oh boy, just see pop, like it just came out. I turn it over. The way I phrase this is here in a second I'm gonna say, look, it actually goes through every single card on the way down except for, and that's true, it did go through everyone down and burned through. I've got my burn marks here, and this guy's freaking out. Lock and card.
Tell me now, man.
When I think of street magic, I think of getting in somebody's head, getting in their face, and really doing something that is impossible, but doing it in an everyday environment. It's exactly what I think this next effect is. Here's Flashcard. Here's what we'll do. I just want you guys to think of a card. You may have seen this before. I want you to think of a card as I go through them like this. You want to do it, or do you want to do it?
Go ahead and let him do it.
Alright.
Okay. Don't make it this one, though, okay? Did you get one?
Hell no, you went too quick.
Was it too fast?
Yeah, that was a little too quick.
Just don't let it be that one. Anyone you see.
Alright.
You got one?
Yeah.
The card was a red card. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of low.
Yeah.
You know what it is, though. It's kind.
I know exactly what it is.
It was a heart.
Yeah.
It was a 4 of hearts.
That's it, dude. I don't know how the heck you done that. 4 hearts. That was it too.
There's something strange I want to show you if I could. Is that actually in here? There's 4 clubs. Something really strange about when people think of cards is that.
It sure looked like a 4 hearts anyway. Not even a 4 hearts in the cards. I don't know how that happened. That was an optical illusion. That was a diamond trying to be a heart, you know?
This is called Flashcard, and you'll understand the reason it's named that after seeing it. Just let me do a little demo for you first. It's a very strong effect. I want you to just think of a card as I riffle through, but I don't want it to be this card. So, did you get one that time, or should I do it again? And of course everybody's going to say, yeah, it was too fast, let me do it again. So, you just do it. Did you get one that time? And of course, you did. And it was a low card. And it was a red card. It was the 4 of hearts, wasn't it? They're gonna freak when you say that. What? I just thought of that. I didn't do. What? Here's what's happening. This takes 0 practice, 0 sleight of hand. I mean, I barely need thumbs to do this trick. Watch this. It's a gaffed card, and I'll show you a few variations on things you can do with it. That's just one presentation. Here's my gaffed card. Boy, it looks fine. It is a 4 of hearts, which I found that a 4 of hearts or an ace of hearts, usually for some reason low hearts are easier to see and to remember. So it's a 4 of hearts that has been glued at the bottom to, in this case, a 6 of clubs that I shaved off at the top. I just cut it off with a pair of scissors, to be honest. I'm not going to say I shaved it. I just cut it off. And what that makes happen is, when this card is in the middle of the deck, if you grab the short end of the deck, of that short card, and you riffle through, you can feel it. I don't know how else to say it, but they won't see the 6. You can just feel it, and it'll automatically stop you at the 4. So as you riffle through, go fast the first time, and say, did you get one? They're like, no, I didn't get one. So then what you do, is you go back through it, just kind of like that, but you're just going to pause slightly like I did. If you watch that again, you'll see I just paused very, very briefly on that 4, just long enough to stick in your mind. And there are tons of things you can do. You can do a mental reading like I do by saying, yeah, your card was the 4 of hearts, and really play it up, be psychic, get into the routine. I can't stress that enough. With this one, this is one that you really have to get into character. It's all about acting, because the trick is done for you. It's a self-working miracle, in my opinion. So, another thing you can do, though, this is a really cool little idea. You can go through the deck like this, just throwing off one card at a time. You can do it at a pretty normal speed and just say, go ahead and look for your card. And obviously they're never going to see it. Whenever you get to your card that you know is rigged, just kind of chuck that on top. You see, you didn't see that. My gaffed card is right back here. Again. But you didn't see it because I'm just throwing through cards. And then it appears that their card, wow, has vanished. It's gone. It's not even in the deck. I knew you were going to pick that card. It can be in your pocket. It could be in their pocket. You could put it under their seat if you can get them sitting down under their foot, under a salt shaker. You can maybe place a card under their hand that you switch for the force card, and then through the trick they maybe turns out that way. You could stick it to the other side of a window. It's impossible things. I really like to do it as a mind reading because it gets in people's personal space, and there's something about a magic trick that really invades that inner sanctum that is our mind that really messes with people, and that's what we want to do. So that being said, this is an incredible trick. I really hope you try to make these. It's super easy. You can take the card out of your deck if you don't want it in there, but it's also good because you can cut to it very easily. You see? So say you had a card picked like the Jack here, because that's a thick card. It's really easy to just cut it and cut the card so you can use it as a card locator or whatever.
Here's Flashcard. These guys were a little bit reluctant. We were at a college campus here. They were a little reluctant to get on film, but they're glad they did. I do my first riffle through on the Flashcard presentation, and he doesn't get one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, let me do that slower. I do it slower. I force it. He knows he has one locked in his mind here. Here we go. And now it's just build up. I'm going to go, okay, it was, it was low, whatever I say here.
You know what it is? You got it? It was red.
All build up. All build up. Look at him. He's like, what? I just called a heart, and he said, what?
4 hearts.
Now he doesn't know what's going on, and everybody's going, what? He called that? He just looked at it. He just thought of it, and I told him, I said, just think of one of these. And now I say, look, I brought another deck with me, and I actually had the 4 from this deck in the cameraman's pocket, which worked out really, really well. And that gave me an excuse to switch decks, so if you ever want to have a card in your pocket, you can say, hey, look, I brought another deck with me, and you can have it pre-stacked to do something else. So I go into the pocket and pull it out. Now everybody's like, what? He does a double take. He's going to look behind himself in a second to make sure nobody's helping. Look, who's back there? Who's helping you? Nobody. Nobody's back there. His buddy laughs at him. They're all going, this guy's raw, or something like that. So, there was Flashcard.
This is Mind Blender, and it's a really awesome way to find a selected card. I use this all the time, and this never fails me. Check it out. Nice face. Be down here all night. Might as well know you. Go ahead and say stop whenever you want here. Stop. Right there. Check it out.
Yeah, do I need to show you this or not?
It doesn't matter too much. Yeah, don't show it.
Okay.
Can I get a shot on that?
I need to see.
Okay. Here's what we want to do. We want to try this and just see if I can do this. I don't know if I can. I saw this done. So here's what we do.
Hi, how are you?
Hold your hand over the deck.
I know I said hi, how are you?
Okay, I think I got it. I think I feel it.
Okay.
I think it's
We're watching
if I cut right here. Here's Mind Blender. Let me refresh your memory on what it looks like in case you forgot. You have a card selected. In this case, we're going to use the 5 of diamonds, and what we're going to do is just take it, and I tell you what, we'll shuffle it into the deck here. We'll give it a couple of cuts. And you just want to have your spectator hold onto the deck for a second. Just really concentrate on their card. Really think about it. Okay, I think I know where it is. Let me see if I can find it. It's actually got an affinity now. It's actually, there's something about it that's different than the rest of the cards. I feel it. It's about 23 cards down. What if I could just cut? And right there is the selected card. This is it's a quick little effect that I really enjoy doing. It's a really cool trick to do, especially for lay people, because it just seems like it shouldn't be possible to find a card in this manner. There are a couple of ways to do it. What you're going to want to do is have a card selected, and by whatever means you want, control it to the bottom of the deck. I normally use that Hindu shuffle control where you leave it sticking out a little bit, drop some of the cards forward as you're pushing it in to where you end up like this, strip it out, and then continue the shuffle. I normally use that, and it's right there on the bottom. If you want to, it's completely up to you. If you wanted to, you could use a double undercut where you just cut it to the bottom like that. And again, all I've done there is taken it, put it on top, I swing cut over, I push this top card over to get a break, pick up at the break, and do that. And that's the table method. If you're doing it in the hands, you would take this and just do the same thing, just push over, but now you keep a thumb brake under it after you get it pushed over on like this. You're going to have it on top here. Let me leave it face up, it'll be easier to see. If I cut it over and I just push over to get my brake, so now I've got this, I'm going to cut one packet off of the bottom portion, and then I'm going to pull the rest off at the brake, leaving that card on the bottom. So after you get it to the bottom, however you want to do that, I'll show you a couple ways. You're going to have them hold it and say, okay, really think about your card. I want to see if you can help me. If you can help me find this, it would really be easier for me. So let's see. Yeah, okay, I think I know. Or you can just keep it and just say, okay, did you hear that? I think it's about, yeah, it's about right. And you're going to do that Charlier cut. Careful not to flash this. You got to do it away from them because this is their card. So you're going to do that Charlier cut. You're going to use the fingers of the right hand after you do the cut just to kind of spider up that card like this. And then once it clears, just bend it over like that. And you have a really cool revelation that people really don't understand. Again, it's good to be a magician.
We're gonna do the mind blender revelation here, and I'm going through over these with these particular people. I'm saying, hey, look, an old man showed me this way to actually locate a card. You can feel for it, but it has an affinity for you. Actually, what I'm doing is I've got their card, I've false cut it. I'm coming out of an ambitious routine actually here. I shuffled it and just controlled it to the bottom with an overhand shuffle, and then I cut and tell them it's so many cards down. I'm gonna pull it, and she even helps me out. And she was really off-put by it, and they didn't know what was going on. This guy asked me to start it over because he's like, what? He has no clue. He has no clue what's going on. And that's the mind blender revelation. That's a lot of fun. Lay people just do not believe this. They just don't catch this one. They don't get it.
Diabolical Ambitions is my handling of an ambitious card routine. It's the one that I use. It's a very impressive trick for lay people especially, but you can do it for magicians as well. It's a routine that defies logic as far as people looking at a deck of cards and what should be possible with a pack. And I think you're going to really enjoy performing it for that reason.
Can I sit?
Is try to take your card, just slide it in the middle, but leave it sticking out just a little bit so that. There we go. Perfect. I'm sweating, man. If I take these, shuffle that in there, and give it a couple of cuts like this. Here's what we want to try to do. Yeah. Did you see it?
No.
It's strange because here's what, it's easy to see sometimes. That. Did you see it that time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Saw it fly right on top.
Right there. It's going to be easier to follow.
That's nuts.
We'll leave it sticking out just like this. I'll put it, that's about 10 plus about 6, that's about 16, give or take a few. I'm going to push this in as slow as I can, watch. That's when it happens. You see that?
That was pound.
Dude, I can't even play pool now because I'm.
That's about middle, right? I mean, we would agree that that's pretty close to middle.
Sounds good.
That's when it happens, though. I mean, and I try to tell people that if you bend it so that the next time we see it, if I just give it this real hard bend there, That way it's pretty easy to follow. Here's what we do. Watch, count 3 with me. 1, 2, 3. That one was pound.
Yeah.
That was hella pound. I tell you what, man.
I'm definitely amazed.
That one sometimes is hard to follow, so what we'll do, just cut off half the deck. Put it back. Snap your fingers. Turn over the top card. Thank you very much.
I'm a magician. Yes, sir. It's definitely something I've never seen.
Diabolical Ambitions is the version of the ambitious card routine that I do. I think it's a really good one, which is why I'm bringing it to you. So here's what we do. An ambitious card routine, for those of you who are not familiar, is a routine in which a selected card jumps back to the top. The original story was it's an ambitious card, which means it wants to be on top. It wants to be the king of the cards, you know. It wants to be the card in charge. It has to be on top of the deck. And the magicians would just go through a sequence of putting the card in the middle, and it would mysteriously jump back to the top. I do this in every ambitious routine that you're going to find. They most always use a similar set of moves. I mean, there are only so many ways to do that, of course, but the key, I think, is building the effect as you go and making each time that the card jumps back to the top a little more impossible than the last. And the way to do that is just stringing the moves together in a proper fashion. You can probably play around with this and come up with additions. There are numerous ways to do it. In fact, I've showed you a ton of ways to do it in this video. In the Sleights section. But the way that I normally do it is I just have a card picked. You can have it signed if you like. You just take this and you're gonna slide it in the middle here. We would agree that's pretty close to the middle, right? Well, here, I'll just slide that all the way in. Now I don't know if you can see that, but that's actually the move. That's when it jumps back to the top. No, it really does. Let me show you again. I'll slow it down a little bit. If we just place it right here, as slow as I can, it goes all the way in, and like that, it jumps back to the top. But let me. What if we? Right there, it's back on top. You know, if you want to sign it at this point, just to make sure that it's really not a trick card, go ahead. And what we'll do, we'll just take it and we'll just stick it right here. In the middle, very slow. Bam! Jumps right back every time. I tell you what, why don't I usually just have a spectator cut off some cards at this point. So they cut like this and put it back. They snap their fingers, they turn it over, and it's back on top. If I take it though and I just I tell you what we'll do. If I take it and just give it a bend like this, almost a crease, just to be able to, that way it's recognizable. Take that, put it here, and just count 3 with me. 1, 2, 3. And it comes back. And that is what I consider a pretty good routine. A lot of times I'll throw in this. If I have a signature, this is when this really comes in handy. If you take a card after it's picked and just leave it sticking out so that they can see the signature here, and then you take it and just slide it right there in the middle. And it jumps back. So, let me show you what I'm doing. You take whatever selected card, get a break under your top card. This is the way I start. I get a break under my top card and I do the Marlowe tilt move, which again is where you're just going to slide this card really second from the top, just like this. But because of this big gap that's open back here, and because of the nature of cards, from the front, it really looks like, you know, it really looks like, wow, that card's really going into the middle, doesn't it? It's not though. And it's really easy at this point to just pull up right there like that. That way you get a break under the top 2 and you're ready to do that double lift. So I do this little convincer where I just push out a few cards, and sometimes I do this little deal where I'll say, well, we'll just take this and slide it right there in the middle. And all you're doing is still putting it second from the top, but you're just lifting up a few cards like this to just add some like dramatics is all it is. And then when you push it in, you're pushing it square like this. Just kind of pull up. That way you have a break under 2 cards with your right thumb. You pull up at the end there and say, watch. And it jumps back to the top. And you've just made it come back to the top once. They're freaking out already. Say, no, really, watch. What if we do this again? And you're picking up your top card, which is actually an indifferent card because you've turned over that double. So pick up your top card and you say, okay, here we go. Goes in the middle. Stick it in from the front this time, not from the back. See, I always do that. That's really important because after you stick it in from the back, they may think that you're doing something back there that they can't see. So we've just changed cards. We're going to use the 6 of spades now, but it's really important to, the first card goes in from the back, and then the second card, which is the indifferent here, you take that and just slide that in the front. That way they see it going really smoothly, and then do your move, do your magic, and let them see it come back to the top. And then you can take it, and I've just gotten a break by doing a pinky pull down or by doing a buckle, which is where you just either buckle like that, you just pull over and it opens up this big wide gap in the back here, or you can just pull down with your pinky, whatever you want to do, and get a thumb break under the bottom card. I'm preparing for a tip over change, and what the tip over change is again is where you flip over the card, but as it goes face down you're actually dropping that top card on top of it like that. You don't want to do it from that distance or it's not quite as impressive. So you get your break and you say, okay, keep an eye on it, watch your card, here it goes, and as you turn it over, just drop it. And just, see, that's an indifferent card now. And what you're going to do is just, I usually swing cut in the right hand packet, and I go, we'll put that in there, and we'll put it all the way down. That's really in there. Watch this. As slow as I can do this. Be dramatic with this one. Drag it out. And it jumps back to the top. You can throw in this, if you're working a table, you can throw this in where you do that thumb switch, get a break under your top card, and do this where you're in the process of putting down the card like that, you're actually just going to let the second card drop. You're just going to have your, just like this. So, let me show you that again. You get your break, put the card right here, and in the process, it looks best if you use 2 hands like that rather than just taking it and tossing it down, because it really looks like it never leaves the grip of the right hand if you just do that. And it just really looks good. So you can do that switch, and then let me do this a little cleaner. You can do this thumb switch like this, and then riffle the cards down, and it jumps back to the top like that. Just kind of snap it over. Then, what I usually do, you can do this a couple of ways. You can do another tip over move, and then slide out. And as you slide it, and once that card's really sticking up there, what I'm actually doing is dropping that card that I had the break above, that bottom card. So now I have one card, and then I have their card sticking out, which it looks like it's on top. So let me show you that again. What's actually happening there? I have a break. I get the break under my bottom card, cut some over, and then go, okay, now if I leave it sticking out like this, turn that hand over, and you're doing that, okay? So you turn that over, say, if I leave it sticking out, if I do this, actually we'll leave it sticking out about like this, and you're going to do this same little thing like if you're going to do a tip over change. But if you leave it sticking out for some reason, it's got a more profound effect. Push it in, bam, it jumps to the top. And usually the way I set up to do I got a couple ending phases, one of which is doing a tip over change, so that now my card is second from the top. I do a double lift. I say, okay, let's bend it, and you're just going to bend 2 cards here. This is the bubble card, and then pull the top bent card into the left hand packet while showing it and holding down this bend with the right index finger. This is their actual card. So you've got that card bent. Really be open, let them see it. Put the cards on top, get a tight grip, and if you grip them tightly, this top card will stay down until you release pressure. And then you just go 1, 2, or whatever you want to do, and after building it up and focusing them on it, just like that, and let go of the pressure, and that card appears to just come back to the top, and people will swear, they'll be like, wow, it just did the wave, it just like riffled all the way up, even though that's not what happens. In fact, that's one way you can do it. You can have the bent card, put it in the middle, and then you go, watch, like that, and just riffle aside, and that's got a really, really neat effect. Then, I think this is the strongest ending. This is my favorite way to do it. What I do is I'll usually do a top change where I have their card and I'll say, hold out your hand for me. And remember what I've just done. All I've done there is just hold, I have their card and I push over here doing the top change where I just switch out that top card. That one's the one that's going to take practice. It's a bold move, but it will serve you well. So you take their card and you're just going to push over. Do not change the grip, remember, and say, hold out your hand for me. And in that gesture, that's when you're switching it, okay? Or you can go, I don't know how it happens, whatever you want to do, just make, with the hands come together, make sure that the deck hand keeps going. When you're doing this, the deck hand should always continue to move wherever you're doing the switch, because the eye follows the motion rather than the card. See, if I do it this way, it looks like I'm, it's just easier to see. You can follow it. So you take their card and you say, just hold out your hand for me, doing the top change. They do. Say, cut off about half the pack there. They cut off some cards. You put what they think is their card in the middle. Put that on top. Say, okay, snap your fingers over the deck. They snap, say, turn it over. And there you have Diabolical Ambitions, named that because that's exactly what it is. It's a diabolical effect. Killer. Have fun with it.
We're gonna do an ambitious card routine here, and I've been heckled by these guys. These two guys standing here in front of me are busting me and busting me. They're not calling me. They're not figuring anything out, but they think they have, and it got a little nerving. So I want to let you know, ambitious is a great way to get out of that. So I'm gonna have him pick one like I just did. I do a tip over change, slide it in. They don't know what's coming. I asked him, you want to sign this again? Because I've done a couple of tricks for him. And so he was saying something about seeing this done somewhere. So I make it happen. Him and his buddy that are both giving me a hard time, they're both trying to bust me on things. So they're looking over at the rest of the audience. Right there, I've just done a tip over push out. Same thing there. And it's, of course, already there. They keep looking over at everybody trying to go, yeah, we're getting him. But you'll see how the tides change with this routine. I'm going to give it a couple of false cuts here. His card's on top there. I'm going to say, check that out. Was that it? So here, I'm getting ready. Everybody's now laughing at these two. I have him put in a card that's been top changed. He turns it over, and he goes, whoa, now everybody is laughing at them. The focus, he looks over at them going, oh, man, now we're getting laughed at. So the ball is completely back in his court. That is the way to handle heckling. Ambitious is great for that.
I used to try to do magic tricks myself, and I know a lot of the tricks, but I don't know, that was crazy.
This is an effect we call New Age Monty. It takes a classic con game and merges it together with a New Age performance feel, and what you end up with is something that takes the classic effect 2 steps past what it's supposed to be able to achieve. So I think you're going to love this one. Have you guys seen that 3-card Monty where they take the cards and they throw them around and you're trying to keep your eye on one of them? Yeah. It's kind of like the cups and balls. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know.
Okay. Now what we'll do, he's following the joke. He's like, wait, I have no idea, but I better say I do. There's a camera on it. We'll do it with 2 cards though to make it easier to follow. Since you know where it is. If we take the 10 of spades, I want you to remember spade and just forget 10 completely, okay?
Right.
And hold your hand out like this. What we want to do, just like that. Just hold it parallel to the ground. There you go. Now, what they generally do, they'll take the spade and they'll put it there, okay? And then they'll take the club and they'll just put this right here on top, and they'll switch it when the borders line up so that, see, now you've got the spade, or the club, and I've got the spade. Now if I take this and you're betting money, what do you think you have right there? Well, obviously you know, because you got the club right here. But if I take the club and I put it back, if I do the switch in fast motion, did you feel the borders line up?
No.
For $100, what do you think's on top? I'm kidding. Would you be more impressed if the club were here or here?
The club was here.
Check them out.
Look at the other one.
That's what you wanted, right?
What the?
That
was here, and this one was here. That's cool.
Well, here's let me show you actually how it works. If I have the club, and we'll take it, just put your hand down on top of it. Just put it out, but leave it sticking out where we can get to it. Okay, now you know what you have right there, right?
No.
Well, go ahead and look. Keep up with this. All right, he's on top of his game. Now, if we take, you've got the club, right? Okay, if we take the spade and just, I tell you what, if we take the spade, we'll do this again. Hold it parallel to the ground. It's really hard to line these up like this because I told you it's when the borders line up. But how do you line the borders up if there's this much space? See, so if I put the club back, did you feel it?
No.
Would you be more impressed if the club were here or over there?
Over here.
Check them out.
That's wicked.
If we try to do it slow, this may work. It may work. If we try to do it slow, what if I left them face up? Would that make it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Here's what we'll do. Hold out both hands. Now, down here lower. I'm short. There you go. If I take the heart and I put it here, parallel to the ground, and I take the diamond and I put it here, what I'm actually doing is I'm picking this one up, I'm sliding it in, I'm doing that switch in extreme fast motion so that, you know, the one I showed you at first, I'm doing that so fast that you can't see it or feel it. You believe that?
Hard to believe.
See, that's easy to follow when it's face up, right? Well, turn those. Here's what we'll do. We'll make this.
Do you see that? Do you see that?
I thought I had the first one. That one I didn't really get.
Oh yeah, definitely time to show you your opponent.
This is New Age Monty, and to be honest, it's an effect that I wasn't even going to put in the video. I was feeling stingy with it, but I was talked into it, so here we go. I'll give you a little demo first of all. This effect, what we're going to try to do is, if anybody's familiar with that 3-card Monty game, which is the game where they take, say, 2 black cards and a red card, and they mix them all around, throw them around, and you have to keep your eye on the indifferent card, the red card, or, you know, vice versa. That's the money card. You take bets on finding it, and of course the player is always wrong. The dealer wins this game every time because they change out the cards. I'll show you how it works though. To make things simpler, we're going to do it with 2 cards. You may have seen this before. What we'll do is we'll take the 6 of clubs here, and you put that in your spectator's hand so that they have the club, and then you take the spade, and what you want to do is, I'll show you what happens here is if I slide the spade in, when the border lines up, I'm able to take the club away. Now, let me show you that again. This is the switch motion they use. They'll put the club back and slide the spade out, just like this, so that now, of course, I have the spade. But the interesting thing is, if I do the switch in fast motion, like this, the border's lined up. I don't know if you could see that. What actually happened is that this is no longer the spade, but the club. And there's the spade. Now, that's a pretty complicated thing. It's a little bit easier. I'll go ahead and we'll separate it. We'll do it from 2 different perspectives to make it harder for me so that they can't line up. What we'll do, we'll take the spade and we'll just put it right here, and we'll take the club and we'll put it over here. Now it's a lot harder for me to be able to take the spade and switch it out with the club because of, obviously, they're far away from each other. So without touching them, what I'm going to do if I just, like that. And sometimes if they're holding the cards, they'll feel it. Because now, they actually switch from here to here. It's an effect that I'm not really sure about at this point, but here's what we'll do. We'll just put those, I'll tell you what, maybe easier if we do this face up. What I'm actually doing, when the borders line up, let's say I put the heart over here, and I put the diamond over here. What I'm actually doing is when I pick up the heart, and I say, it's really hard to switch these cards out, with them far away. The reason I pick it up is I'm doing that switch when the borders line up in fast motion. I'm doing it so fast though that you can't see it. And since these are face down, I've now switched the two cards. It's a lot easier to see when it's face up. The interesting thing about this is that they really have switched. And a lot of people look at me like, what are you talking about? That's really the way it works, because you can see that now we're dealing with blue cards. Alright, let me show you how that works. I really enjoy this, and it's getting some amazing reactions. It's a 3-phase, and that was just a little promo. It's a little performance. It's not really the same way I do it if I have a pair of hands. And you saw that in the performance, and you'll see another one. You have two identical cards, or not identical, but like the 6 of diamonds and the 6 of hearts, or whatever. Either 2 red cards or 2 black cards, whatever you want to use for the Monty. In this case, I'm going to use 2 red 6s of a different color than the rest of my deck, and I'm going to use a right there. Let's see, there's a 6, and okay, so here are all the cards that you need in order to make this effect work. It's worth it. Okay, here's what you do. You have a duplicate of one of the cards that you're going to start with. Say, in this case, you want your 2 that you're starting with to be of opposite colors as the different colored cards. In this case, I'm going to start, my duplicate card is black. It meant 6 of spades, 6 of spades. So I need to have the diamond and the heart be the blue cards. Same thing, if I were using like a heart, I would use either a spade or a club as the blue card. You understand? So, here's the setup. You have spade, club, spade. So duplicate, regular, duplicate of matching color. Those are going to be on top of the deck. So you take your 2 reds, put those on top. Take all of these 3, duplicate, club, duplicate. Those on top of that. Then you take your 2 odd backed and you put those on the bottom of the deck. Okay? So again, here's your setup from the deck. Let me see if I can. Right there. There's what you've got. You've got your blue backed cards on the bottom. You've got duplicate club, duplicate spade right here, and then your 2 reds, and you're ready to start. Here's how it works. You're going to do a double lift, and the easiest way, I showed you all kinds of ways to do it. So just do your double lift and show, the club. Turn that over, and you're putting down what appears to be the club. You're miscalling. This is actually the spade. Putting that down, and as they are thinking that that's the club, you're actually going to turn over another double lift. So I've just double lifted again to show the spade. And I'm going to call it the club. Or I'm confusing myself here. You turn over the spade, and you're really putting down the club, but you're calling it a spade. So you say, here's the switch motion. You go, okay, now when I pull this out, now I've got the club and you've got the spade, right? Which is actually wrong, but it's what they perceive. And then you say, so if I put the club back and the borders line up again, now I've got the spade. And they're like, yeah, and I say, okay, and that's when I do another double lift. I just put the club that I'm calling the spade back on top. I do another double lift, and I say, there's the spade. But if I do the switch in fast motion, I take the spade, bam. Would you be more impressed if the spade were here or here? And obviously they're going to be more impressed if it's here, which happens to be exactly where it is. While they're freaking out over that, I do a gesture cut. I'm just slipping the top card off of the deck here, and I go, see, and I usually have my hands turned up like this, but what I normally do is I just do a gesture cut and say, okay, do you see that? And I've just slipped my duplicate card into the middle of the deck, and I just throw the rest on top, so that what I have now are my 2 opposite colored cards, and still have my odd backs down here. And what I'm going to do is, while they're freaking out, I'm just pushing over 2 cards and getting a pinky break like this under the top 2. I'm going to take these two, and I just kind of, the easiest way I've found is I just kind of hold them jogged like this, and then I just slide them right in. And what I'm actually doing is setting it up so that it goes black, red, red, black, like this. So again, let me show that again. Those are down in somebody's hand. You have your brake back here. You pick them up, and they're not paying attention, so you just slide them in. Whatever's easiest for you, just slide them right in there, and then you're ready to go into what would be the normal two-card Monty handling. But you turn over the top card and say, okay, we take the club, and you want to put it over to the left, in the left hand, or in the leftmost person's hand, whatever, and say, if you want to make sure that's the club, go ahead. And then as they're doing that, you're turning over a triple lift, which is just the top 3 cards of the deck to show the spade, just like a double, except it's a triple. Now, you show the spade, turn it back over, and say, okay, if we place the spade here, it's really hard. That's when you pick the club back up. You say, it's really hard to switch these out. What I've done just there is a top change. I've showed you that before. I mean, it's really easy. The reason you placed it like this is so that you have cover. You pick this up, you come across, you have cover, you switch the card and say, it's really hard to switch these 2 cards out with this much distance between them. You haven't even touched this over here, which is what they're going to be concentrating on. And you say, but watch, let's see if we can make something happen without touching it. And you just do a little motion, really be magic about it, and then have them say, slowly turn the card over. And they turn it over, and now you've got an even more powerful, it's building the effect. It gets better and better the whole time. So now you have just changed the color of the cards that you're dealing with. So they're going to be freaking out, which is normally how 2-card Monty works, but they never do it separate like this. It's really cool. And now you just take these, and I usually do a cut. I usually put them on top and then cut. But sometimes I'll just put them on top and then turn the deck over because they're freaking out and they're not thinking about it. I just ended, remember, with the 2 red cards, which match my oddbacks on the bottom. So now I'm going to use these and say, let's do this face up. So I showed them the switch move in the first routine where the black cards switched places. Then I just did something without touching them at all, and it was really a gem because the cards changed colors and suits. Now I'm going to blame it on the first move. I'm going to blame the second happening on the first move that I showed them, like this. I'm going to take the heart and put it down, do everything just like you're about doing the last one. Say, let's do it face up so that you can really see how this works. I'm going to pick this card up and I'm going to say what I'm really doing. I'm being careful not to flash the backs. What I'm really doing, and a lot of times I'll point, like I'll say it's really easy when they're face down, but when they're face up, it's easier to follow, and that just gives you just an excuse to point at the deck, make them look, oh, that's a red deck. Don't say, look at the red deck. Just let them think about that, you know. Let it be an unspoken subtlety. Be very open with this. You'll see me do that in performance. Now, what I do is I say, the way that works, let me really slow it down. What I really do is I take the heart, and when I say it's really hard to switch the cards without them being close together like this, with them being spread out. When I say that, what I'm actually doing is that switch I showed you, but I'm doing it in extremely fast motion. And they're going, no way, he's doing it fast, because they already saw you do the move fast in the first phase of the routine. So they're like, yeah, that's what he's doing, it makes sense. But he did it so fast we couldn't see it. And then just play it up, say, but look, they actually switched. And when it's face up like this, it's not as impressive. So I tell you what, let's just go ahead and turn it face down again. And let's try to keep up with the trick. And you can spread these out or whatever, and they're going to be freaking out. You've just floored them. This is my favorite trick in card magic. So practice it. It's worth the effort. It's worth the setup. Just practice it. Do it well. And you'll have a gem in your routine. New Age Monty.
We're going to do New Age Monty here. This was a great audience because one of the guys here, when I'm telling the story about, have you seen the 3-card Monty game, he's actually seen it. He says he used to do it. And most of the time when people say it right there, and most of the time when people say that, that means we have no idea what you're about to do. We have no clue, and we're not going to understand it, but we'll say we will. And this guy actually was a really, really nice guy to do magic for. But anyway, I tell the story here about 3-card Monty. And this guy was kind of watching me close, burning me a little bit, so I got the idea that I may get thrown a curveball here. So when I do my double lift, and I miscall my first card here, I'm putting it down, I get the idea that he really wants to peek at it because he's going to put his soda down when I double lift again. I put down my second card that's miscalled, and his hand was shaking there. You saw him tapping his fingers. He really, really wants to come off those and look at it. So I'm going to switch once. And remember, this is completely miscalled, so I kind of knew what was going to go on here. And I asked him, I switch back here, and then I'm going to ask him what he's got. And I'm actually leaving the proper card there so that you'll hear me here. And he looks at it, he's going to look at it here in just a second. And right there, so now he knows what he has. Now I'm going to do the switch right in front of his face. But I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to say, put your hand back. Now I'm going to top change out. That's the way I'm doing it, just because I thought I didn't have quite the crowd control I wanted, so just an idea. So that he could actually look at it before he thought it went under his hand. I basically did a top change on the table right in front of him without pointing it out. And now he's like, what? So now we've got one, and when I asked him if he thought it was possible, he's like, normally I'd say no, but I just think it might be. So he was getting into it. I put the cards back in the stacked order, the way that I showed you, and I'm going to put down my first card, and he puts his whole hand on top of it. This guy had big hands, so I had to improvise a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do my triple lift, and I'm going to put the card under his fingertips, and you can see that right there. What I'm going to do is say, why don't we do this, because that guy was burning my hands from the side. He was looking at me. I didn't want him to catch me on the triple. I just top changed right there. I don't know if you can see that. When I pointed and said it's hard to switch when they're this far apart. I've put the cards back. They're already switched. I do a little bit of magic, do some abracadabra. This guy pulls a rabbit out of his hat. Whatever you want to do. And now I just do a little bit of build-up, let them pause. And then I say, hey, would you be more impressed this way? Let him check it out. And this guy, the guy on the left there, threw it down. He did a double take. The guy that said that he seen the trick on the right there was like, what? And you hear one of the guys in the background like, that was awesome. He didn't know what was going on. This guy's closed off now. He crossed his arms. He doesn't know what's going on. So I figured I better hit him while it's strong. So I'm going to put the first face-up card there. I just put the cards back on top of the deck, and then to switch them into the red, I just turned the deck over in my hands, and nobody even caught it, as I said before. So those cards are already red. I'm going into the explanation saying I'm doing the switchy fast motion, but I put one of the cards on the table here. And there we go. Now the cards have switched into red cards. And I should have pointed out the blue deck a little bit better than I did here. I generally do, but now they're still feeling around on the cards, not knowing what was going on, and you'll see them here in just a second when it really hits home what's just happened right there. What's this? Is this regular? Is this real? What's wrong with this? New Age Monty.
This is the crown jewel of Volume 1, and the reason I say that, this effect is called St. Louis Ashes, and it's a new spin on something that's just completely insane. This is incredible. You're gonna love it. It's very personal for your spectators to watch. Check it out. You ready? Alright, I just want to say stop. Stop me whenever you want, bro.
Stop.
Right here? You want me to go further or go back or anything? Right there's cool? Yeah, alright, cool. Check out your card. You got it? Know what it is? Cool. Here's what we want to do. Hold your hand out like this. Are you right or left-handed?
Right.
You're right-handed? Let's do it with your right hand. Here, dude, can you see what's going on over here? Yes or no?
Yeah, we're good.
You're good? Alright. Dude, here's what we'll do. We'll take it, actually, I'll let you do it. Just slide it right in here. Wherever you want. Stick it in. Now concentrate. I don't know if you're going to be a good person to do this with, but bring your hand up here. Bring it up here. You know what actually happens is if I wave like this, I'm going to see if we can't get something going with each other, alright? Flip your hand over, make a fist. We want to try something. Don't get nervous though. We'll take some of these, just like this. See if I can... I don't know if that means anything to you, but what's kind of weird, that looks like a 7. Let me, if I get a little bit of... Hey man, you know what? You know what that almost looks like it would be? Looks like it could be a 7 of hearts. What was your card though?
7 of hearts.
7 of hearts? For real?
What do you know?
That was sweet. That was f***ing awesome. I'll give you that. It blew me away.
Here we go with St. Louis Ashes. This is, in my opinion, the best card effect in Magic. This is definitely, in my opinion, the best on the video, which is exactly why I'm not doing a performance on someone here in private, because I didn't want somebody else standing here while I explain the trick. I don't think it's right that somebody had the opportunity to learn the effect before you bought the video and you get the effect yourself. So I'm just going to do the normal, show you how, I'll tell you how it's done. You saw the performance, there will be another performance like always, and that should be enough reinforcement. You'll definitely get it. So here we go. The effect itself, though very strong and seemingly very complicated, is super easy. It uses a card force. You can use whatever card force you want. You can use a riffle force, the Hindu force. I've showed them both to you. And you need another piece of equipment. You need chapstick. This is regular run-of-the-mill, just the black label chapstick. And I found, I really experimented with a lot of substances when trying to figure out what to use for this. You can probably figure out where I'm going from here. I've used oil, I've used other lip treatments, waxes, I've used soaps, all sorts of things to try to make this work, and I found that this really works the best. It lasts longer, and it's less perceptible. Reason that I use the black label stuff is because it's waxy, it's really thick, and it sticks to skin so that the ashes can absorb it really easily, but also it matches the skin color pretty well. I mean, it's shiny a little bit, but you can't really see it after it's on there for a little while. And it can be on there for several minutes, good several minutes before you actually do the effect, which means you can set this up beforehand. Now, the setup is, let's say you're going to use the 7 of clubs here. I always use 7s because, well, I'll get to that in a second, but the club, if I'm going to write the suit on my hand, I just write club. This is done in private, and I'm done with my part of the setup for myself. I go out and I force my 7 of clubs, and remember I said you can use whatever you want, but sorry, before I do that, this is going to be in my pocket. You can pull it out, put some on, and then stick it back in your pocket, but take the lid off, and while it's in my pocket, I'm going to be rubbing with the tip of my finger like this, just getting some of that on my finger there. Okay? Just rub it on there and get a good coating while you're talking to somebody. I mean, you can just rub it for a few seconds. Now I've got more than enough on my finger to do it right there. Can you see how much I have here? Okay. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a big clump, believe it or not. And what you do is that in there, and you've got your card here. You can do whatever you want. You can do a riffle force where you just say stop. Would you like me to go forward or go back? Well, yeah, go forward a little bit. Okay, is right there good, sir? Absolutely. Okay, well, good. Why don't you check out your card? They look at it. You don't know what it is, apparently. You take it and you put it in their hand. Now, hold out your hand. Remember, I've got that chapstick on my finger here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say, now just hold on to that, and what I want you to do is just concentrate on it to make sure that you know what it is. You do know what it is, right? And they, of course, yeah. And at this point, you can take the card. I've already written it. When I put it in their hand, I say, just hold on to that, and you can write it right there. Hold on to that. The hardest part of this effect is learning to write backwards. Once you learn to write the numbers and letters backwards, like if you want to put a number on one hand and then a suit on the other, if you want to do them both on the same hand on the spectator, you can do that. I just do it this way because it's a lot easier to pick up on camera if I can make the number really huge on their one hand and then I can make the suit really huge on one of my hands. It worked out really well for camera, but you can write the whole thing on their hand if you like, and it's really strong when you do. But it's a really quick occurrence. You just hold out your hand, okay, hang on to that, they hang on to it, okay, go ahead and write, you're done. But see, a 7, when it's face up like this, it's easy, just it's a right angle. And there are less curves, so it's just 2 movements and you're done. That's why I use the 7s. So once their hands turn down, you just write upside down with whatever finger you have the chapstick on, just bam, just like that. And when they turn that face up, it of course is in the right direction. So just force the card. You may be concerned. I know you're probably thinking, well, they're going to feel me write on their hand. No, they won't. I promise you. You can distract them in any way you want. You can go, hey, do you have an ashtray? Or you can take a piece of paper, have them write their card on it. I do it a lot this way. Have them write their card down on it while you're standing 10, 20 feet away, setting up. You can just write on your hand and then have them burn it. They burn it. You pick up the ashes and you rub it on their hand and go, wait a minute, I think I feel something. And you just rub it on your hand. This is a very theatrical effect. It's you know, ashes. You can do a presentation saying, well, have you heard that ashes to ashes, dust to dust? Well, let me share with you why that is. Whenever you think of something, you have a thought, it connects with your spirit and it will forever be with you, no matter if you can remember it or not. So now that you've thought of that card, it's with you. Now let me show you what I mean. Have them hold their hand over the ashes or something and say, just transmit that down after you've already written it on there. Transmit that, transmit that. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Are you thinking of your card? Build it up. Just have them, you thinking. All right. Now let me see if I can just turn their hand over, rub it on, and rub it on yours. You're good to go. You can do this on 2 of their separate hands. You can do it all on your hand. You can do it, I like to do at least half of it on their hand and the other half on mine. Just for me, that's just the way I do this. But like I said, there are 1,000 ways to do it. I have found that, like I said, this chapstick really works well for this. It's a very, very strong effect. When you present this in a spiritual way like that, people will absolutely flip. I mean, you can see it on the performance back there. People just can't believe what you've just done. You have just overcome reality and just shattered everything that they thought was real. If you were just able to do this and take a thought and make it a physical representation out of the spirit realm, I mean, how do you top that? There's no way to top that. And you've done this with a deck of cards. You know, I just love the idea that this is how strong card magic can be. This is what card magic is supposed to be. In my opinion, this is the closest thing to real magic that you could ever imagine. St. Louis Ashes.
We're going to do St. Louis Ashes, and for this one I'm using a Hindu force, which means I've got my force card on the bottom. I execute the force, and remember, I've already got in this case I'm using a spade. I've already got an S on my hand because I'm going to present it that way, the two-handed one of his, one of mine presentation. I'm trying to get a distraction, trying to make sure everybody can see everything that's going on, and I was surrounded, so I had to really look for some excuses to get some eyes off my hands. I asked everybody to look at the card again. Now I'm reintroducing myself to this girl here as I ask her for an ashtray. And that gave me just the time that I needed to write my 7, so you can see how quickly it goes. It was just bam, over, just like that. And I'm trying to get together enough enough ashes. In a few seconds, I'm going to go into the presentation of every thought that he has is going to manifest itself. You know, after a thought dies, it turns into ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That whole scene there. So now I ask him to turn his hand over, and he's going to do so. I'm going to put the ashes on the back of his hand. See, it really doesn't take much. I barely had anything there, and it's still going to show up here for me. I'm going to add a few more to make it more clear here in just a second. But for the most part, he already knows. He already sees his card right there because he started facially. If you could see his face right now, he started contorting a little bit, like, what's going on? And you can see my left hand was in the shot right there, and there it is. You cannot see the chapstick on the back of my hand. You have no clue that there's anything there. So I'm going to darken that 7 up for him so you can't see that. And I tell him I'm going to absorb some things. And here I go wiping on me. And look how clearly that shows up, and you can't even see it beforehand. This has been on my hand for a good between 5 and 10 minutes. Now this looks like a sign, and he's going, what?
7 of spades.
He doesn't know what.
You're a bad man.
He's looking around everybody else to try to figure out how it works. St. Louis Ashes.
Congratulations on making it through. I know this was a long video. We made it that way for a reason though, so that hopefully you could get the maximum amount of magic out of this. You want to watch this over and over and over to reinforce what you've learned. You're not going to be able to watch it just all today like you have and go out and do every single thing on here. After seeing all of this, I know you're going to be comfortable with how the effects go. But that may not be enough to keep some of you from having stage fright and getting uncomfortable when you get in front of certain people, certain audiences, get put in certain situations. I want to tell you now, expect it, because it's going to happen. But when you get nervous, just breathe deeply, you know, take your time, slow down, and realize that you're doing magic. They're looking at the people that are watching you do magic are watching you to be entertained, and because they're delighted by what you're doing, not because they want to laugh at you. You're in control of the situation, so stage fright is not a big deal. It's nothing like it would seem to be for a lot of people. There's no reason to get nervous. You're a magician, and people love magic. If they don't, you don't want to do magic for them anyway. The audiences you're going to run into when they invoke stage fright are probably going to be those real hecklers, the guys that give you a hard time. And even though you may not want to do magic for them, they're going to be with people that you want to do magic for and that really are enjoying themselves. So don't let them ruin it for everybody else. When that comes up, one of the things that I like to do, if somebody's really burning your hands and you feel like you need to take your time, you need to, you know, regain your composure, something that I found really useful is going into an ambitious card routine. It's a great way, especially with lay people, to bring down their guard. Those hecklers, I do that all the time. The hecklers are really laid back by an ambitious card routine because it's a very magical experience for them. They don't understand it, and no matter how much they burn your hands, generally the moves are really easy and they flow together really smoothly when you're doing an ambitious card routine. So that makes it perfect to go into at any time to recover, or to just so you can slow yourself down and slow down the people that are really burning you in those tough crowds, so that everybody has an enjoyable experience and you can get ready to do some magic in whatever way you need to. Now, I don't think people cover this enough, but there are a lot of benefits of performing magic. When you're a magician, a lot of things are going to happen. There are going to come times when you're going to be at a party and somebody's going to know you from doing magic, and they're going to ask you to do something, so you're going to do it for everybody else at the party. That's a huge thing. I have met so many people as a result of doing magic, people that I would have never been in contact with in my life, and I'm so happy that I've had this gift to be able to share with them. And magic is a very powerful gift. When you become a magician, you're going to meet new people, make new friends. It's going to make it a lot easier if you're uncomfortable now in a certain social situation. Bust out a card trick. It is a great way to break the ice with somebody new. It's a good way to get dates, I'll tell you that right now. Great way for that. And everybody enjoys it. You're just gonna, this is a huge social event. It's a building block for every one of us. It's gonna open a ton of doors. There are gonna be things that come available to you. You're gonna make money if you choose to. You're gonna make friends. You're going to get free meals. You open up your imagination to all the things that are possible, because when you start sharing this with people, they're gonna start giving back to you.
At first, you're not going to just pick up the deck and be incredibly comfortable. It's not going to look exactly how it looks when I'm doing these, and that's because I've practiced these effects for a very long time. I've been doing magic for the length of time that some of the people watching this video have been alive. And in order to get to that level, it's going to take practice. I don't want you to think that everything you see on this video you're going to be able to take right now and do it, because right now, unless you're a very experienced magician, you haven't really had the time yet that's necessary to build up your hands and to let your hands really memorize the movements of doing card magic. And particularly the effects in this video, the movements and sleights that are required are completely separate from the story that goes with the effect. So you're gonna have to practice so that's second nature. You want the moves to be a subconscious act, and the playwriting or the story that goes along with it to be really what you focus on in a performance. And in order for that to happen, you're gonna have to dump in the time. And I just can't stress that enough. You know, I have a close friend who says it's better to learn 80 tricks 100% than 100 tricks 80%, and it could never be more true. And with that, we'll see you in Volume 2. Congratulations, you've just begun the most incredible journey of your life, the journey to becoming a master magician.